Welcome to the Fantasy Football Fanalist Podcast, presented by Fantasy Data. Here's your hosts, Billy Muzio and Bradley Stalder.
Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Fanalist Podcast, presented by Fantasy Data. Billy Muzio today with Anthony Cervino from FFFaceoff. And as you can see with the board pulled up, we are going to be rocking and rolling today in an FFPC Best Ball Tournament Championship. And I think I got Anthony hooked on these drafts, Anthony. We were talking offline. How you liking the FFPC?
I'm loving it. I did one lineup last year in the FPC, and it died early. I had Dak and Saquon Barkley, amongst other guys who didn't play. But coming back this year, I'm into my second FPC draft. I've done a few best balls, and now this one for with you.
Yeah, we are drafting out of the 10 hole here today. Again, this format is best ball. We might throw in an FBG here. We're talking about our addictive ways here with fantasy football, and as soon as you're done with the draft, you want to throw another one in. But it's going to be nice to do a draft with you. It's always great to partner up and get other people's and other analysts' takes on players, and you get exposure to someone that you may not have necessarily been as high on. So I'm looking forward to this draft with you.
Absolutely, likewise.
So from the one hole, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook will go 1 and 2. Travis Kelce 3, pretty chalk. Devontae Adams slides up to 4, which has been a pretty consistent pick now. Devontae Adams just continues to climb with Aaron Rodgers' return and clarity there in Green Bay. Alvin Kamara has also been kind of going higher, I should say, in these drafts. I've seen him go as early as 1, but traditionally after Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, it's pretty much anybody's game from like 3 through 12, 14. Who are some of your favorite targets in round 1?
Some of my favorite round 1 targets, obviously, depending where I'm picking from. Ezekiel Elliott is a guy I've been pounding all offseason. Now I see him going in this FPC draft. He just went 3rd. The last draft I did, I got him at 7. I've been all in on Ezekiel Elliott all offseason. He's one of my top targets.
Yeah, the beginning of the year, I was able to grab Zeke at like the 10, 11 hole.
Wow.
Sometimes he still slides there. So I do think that you can still get the discount. It's not as likely as it was in the beginning of the year, but whenever he's there, I like to take him. All right, so we are on the clock here. I think off air you said that you're a component of taking a running back earlier. Is that still the direction you want to go here? Do you want to try a modified 0 RB build, or what's the direction that you want to rock and roll with this pick?
I wouldn't mind going a different direction here if you want to roll with the 0 running back build. That's not something I'm doing a lot of. I just did one of these on Underdog. I'm doing a slow draft right now that I'm doing a 0 running back.
Okay, so do you want to throw in a Tyreek Hill here then?
Yeah, let's roll with a Tyreek Hill. Of those early receivers, if he plays a full 17 games, he has the highest ceiling.
Okay, I'm going to lock in Tyreek Hill here. We'll see who lands to us in the 2 hole. Worst case scenario, we don't go full 0, we go modified, and we'll throw in a running back in like round 2 or 3, depending upon who comes back to us. And then just from there on out, or we can just say, you know what, we're going to go full on 0 running back and take 5-6 rounds of wide receivers, tight ends, and maybe in a quarterback if they fall.
I think you gave me this advice. When you start doing more of these lineups, you need to diversify and do something different.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll go completely off the rails and I'll take people just completely against ADP just to diversify, just to create unique builds. That's something else I really like to do. So as you start getting in volume drafting, you start looking at, hey, how can I make sure that my build is unique? Because you start having other people who are submitting 100, 150 of these rosters, and you have to create a difference between you and them. And if you just consistently drafting by ADP, those type of builds are going to be common in these formats. So diversifying as well as going against the grain allows you to get unique builds. Like there's several teams I have that at like pick 3 are unique in this tournament.
What's the most unique player you've drafted?
Unique
at that
player.
spot?
Oh, I fired up, like, I don't know. It's like that round, like right there. It really depends upon what the beginning of the bork does. But like I've fired up Eckler at number 3 overall. Like that to me is unique, right? And then come back around knowing I was going to get like a Keenan Allen to stack it, and then depending upon who falls to you in round 3, then you're unique. But I mean now it's going to be harder to hit that type of build, getting Eckler and Keenan, because Keenan's going in early round 3, and Eckler has been kind of anywhere in the middle to the end of the first round.
Now we're almost on the clock here. Two of my, and I know we said modified 0. We could go. You have Saquon and Jonathan Taylor. These two are my favorite. I'll call them a value at this point, especially Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is a value. The only downfall with him is the week 14 bye here, which is the first week of playoffs for this tournament, which I do downgrade him slightly just due to that fact. The O-line is good. So I'm good to go either way. Just if we do take Jonathan Taylor, we just have to be mindful of the week 14 bye and not taking too many throughout the rest of the picks.
The only other, looking at the wide receivers here, Ridley, Hopkins, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. If we were to go to receiver here, I think I would shoot for a Calvin Ridley, because he's another one of those guys. We talked off air about AJ Brown having a path to overall wide receiver 1. I think Calvin Ridley could also be that guy.
I agree. Yeah, he's my wide receiver 2 for the year. I have about 160 targets, so I'm good. I love Ridley. I'd be happy taking Ridley here, but I'd also be happy taking Barkley or JT to give us one solid running back, and then kind of go straight wide receiver from there. So I'll let you pick whichever one you want, because I have plenty of all 3.
Let's go JT.
Okay, we'll lock in JT. It gives us a solid RB1 to kind of rest the stable upon. And then from there, it gives us a little bit more flexibility throughout the draft.
Doesn't take much to sway my decision to draft a running back.
Yeah. I always like throwing in one. I'm more of a modified running back builder if I do go this direction. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've gone full tilt and have gone, 6, 7, 8 picks without taking any running backs, and then just painted it green towards the end. And I have some really dangerous teams doing that, but I do like having at least one running back that I can rely on week in and week out.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up this team that I'm drafting right now. I think I finally just took my running back in the 5th round, which was Chris Carson. I couldn't endure it anymore, seeing what else was out there. But I went Kelsey, Mahomes, CD Lamb, Jamar Chase, and then Chris Carson.
Yeah, Carson the 5th. That's a pretty good value.
Yeah,
I'll take that all day.
That's why I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's not sexy," but I don't care if he's not sexy as long as he gets me fantasy points on a weekly basis and it's consistent. And that's what Chris Carson does.
Winning should matter more than sex appeal.
Exactly. I 100% agree. I don't care if it's a vanilla player. I don't care if it's a something spicy. Like, for instance, Marvin Jones. Like, no one wanted him at the beginning of the year because everyone's like, oh, they want the shiny new toy. They want Laviska Shenault or DJ Chark is going to break out this year. Well, guess what? They went out and they grabbed Marvin Jones this offseason. They acquired him. They paid the man. And he was going in around 14, early 15 in these earlier drafts. And to me, it was a smash every single time it came around. And now we're seeing him go up in, like, I saw him go in the 8th the other day. That was early. But on average, he's going in like round 10. So you can take these vanilla players. You can get value early in drafts.
He's one of my highest rostered players this offseason.
I love him.
It's ridiculous. Marvin Jones also has a 2-year plus history, but focus on the past 2 years with Darrell Bevel in Detroit, 9+ touchdowns and at least 19 deep targets. And now he follows Bevel over to Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. And I just think that Chark, they were already talking Chark down this offseason, saying he wasn't playing big enough. I just think that there was a clear line of targets for Marvin Jones. And let's face it, the dude scores like 8 touchdowns every single year. He's a machine. And he's done it in not just one offense, not just two offenses, but he's going to be in his third offense now, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
It's still crazy going back to 10 plus years. Marvin Jones, Mohamed Sanu were both on the supporting receivers to AJ Green.
Yeah, there was that was a pretty good core. I mean, and now we have, it kind of reminds me of this new core here that we have in Cincy. They just seem to always find themselves some outstanding values at wide receiver. And then we got Chase this year, Higgins, and Tyler Boyd is another solid trio. All right, so we're nearing the end of the second round here. Are there any surprises for you?
Any surprises? I'm trying to pull up. I'm used to drafting on the app.
Yeah, you can go down to board. It should be right above your picks.
Okay, I have. I don't see board, but I have the results.
If you're on the area where you select a player, scroll down, and then it says roster, right to the right where it says roster.
Okay, I see it. I see it. I am no longer surprised on the amount of tight ends that go early in these drafts and these FFPC drafts because of the tight end premium. But as far as surprise players, I mean, not really, not so far. What about for you?
No, pretty chalk. I mean, any surprise that you continue to see Saquon Barkley float around that kind of middle second round? Or, I mean, I would have thought by his return to practice, he would have started creeping back up into the first, and we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, maybe people are just worried that of re-injury, or maybe they're worried about Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above, right?
But Saquon was also extremely effective with Eli Manning on his last leg.
This is facts. I think the man is just built differently than most running backs and has the upside, but injury is always a concern with him. We've seen some pretty severe injuries through his short career already.
It's he almost follows that, not to the same extent as like Keyshawn Carters or Curtis Enuses of the world, but Penn State running backs always had that injury issue, especially the really good ones.
That's an interesting fact. I didn't know that.
Didn't the Jets, the Jets drafted a Penn State running back, like maybe in the late 80s, like top 10. And I think he's another one that fell to injury. There's quite a few.
Yeah. Wow. David Montgomery got fired up at 3-2. That's early for him.
Now that's big. Yeah. I've seen him go, a round or two later.
Yeah. I've seen him go into the fifth sometimes. I mean, on average, he's end of 3, turn of 4, but 3-2 is, I guess get your fucking guy if you want. Just get him. So for you, at what point are you a value-based drafter? Are you a get your guy, or are you kind of a let's see what falls to me and make my decision up at that point?
It's usually let's see what falls to me and let's see how the draft falls out. I usually like to be a volume-based drafter, but if my guy is around and I know he's not going to make it back to me, I'll reach.
Yeah, that's exactly how I am. Like I wait, play the waiting game, see what falls, and then if I'm not crazy about anybody there and I like somebody next round, fire them up. Keenan Allen goes all the way to 3-6. Mike Evans went a little early in this one.
No, we're almost up.
Yeah, we are 4 picks away. And I have 3 in the queue. I'm going to add a 4th right now. Well, there goes the guy I wanted the most. I didn't think he's going to make it, though. Okay, 2 players here I like still quite a bit.
Considering it's tight end premium, are you more apt to go TJ Hawkinson than maybe running back coming back?
Yeah, I would say I'd fire up TJ here, and we could grab a running back on the way back, or we could even push it and go unique, not unique, but we could go something different, and we could go double tight end. We could take Mark Andrews. We could even go receiver at that point. Especially with all 3 of the wide receivers injured in Baltimore right now.
Yeah, I don't know. And you could start with this format, multiple tight ends.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you have 2 flex spots.
So let's do that. Let's see if Andrews falls back to us, but let's go TJ Hawkinson now and Mark Andrews coming back.
Okay, I like that build. We'll lock it in, TJ Hawk. We did see today that Mark Andrews collapsed on the field, so I think he'll fall to us. He goes kind of middle of round 4 anyways, but I think that I think they initially said it was dehydration and cramps.
Yeah, that's the human element of football I think people forget about, dating back to Corey Stringer. About what these players put themselves through in this heat. Because I don't like the heat myself. So imagine
I'm
with
a
these
polar
guys.
bear.
My wife gets mad that I have the air on 68 year round in New Jersey. I don't like that's the one luxury in life that I cannot live without. Take away everything else, not my air.
I'm the same. I live in Bend, Oregon. It snows like all winter through, like even in like into April we have snow, and then we get some pretty hot days in the summer here. A couple days of the hundreds, and I'm like melting. I want to be in the river. I'm inside in the AC. If I'm outside, I have to be in water. Like I'm a big. I just don't do well in heat.
Neither do I.
My wife loves it. I mean, we'll be in Scottsdale, and she's like outside, laying down by the pool, not even in the water, and I'm like, I have to be in the water.
Yeah, my wife's very much an outside person, and she doesn't get like the heat. Just that doesn't work for me. And she's like, "Why do you have to be unsocial?" I'm like, "I'm not unsocial. I'm dying." And it'll be like 80 degrees at night here, and I live on the Jersey Shore. You want to start a fire on a fire pit? No.
I have a fire inside my body right now. It's hot as shit.
I'm gonna be inside with the dog.
DeAndre Swift discount there.
Dobbins I know you had him in the queue. He's another player that I have a high exposure to, which is another reason why let's pivot to TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah, I have a lot of Dobbins too. And if you can get him that late, that's exactly where I like taking him. I prefer a wide receiver in the beginning of round 3, like an AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, those types. Well, Andrews is there if we want to do it.
Let's see what else is out there. So we have all the quarterbacks still on the board. Carson, Miles Sanders. See, the running backs are decent right now, so I don't feel pressured.
Yep.
I look at the wide receiver. You know what? Let's go Mark Andrews with the tight end premium format.
Let's do it.
So Noah Fant, he's going as what? The tight end 7 here or 6?
Yeah, he kind of flops. I mean, between him and Logan Thomas. Logan Thomas has been kind of creeping up boards lately, but Fant kind of goes in that 6-7 turn right there. And I've seen him go earlier, though. I mean, it's FFPC. People do whatever the hell they want.
How do you feel about Goddard? Because Goddard was one of those players, and people, including myself, thought he was going to break out. Zach Ertz was as good as gone, and we're approaching week 1, and Zach Ertz is still there, and Goddard's still there. And all of a sudden, the Eagles look like they're starting to develop their young receivers. So I'm a little bit worried about Dallas Goedert.
I'm a little concerned now. That offense will run a lot of 12 personnel. The offensive coordinator that came over from the Colts ran a lot of 12 personnel there with Burton and with Mo Alley Cox. So I could see a scenario where it's a lot of 12 personnel. I mean, maybe not quite Arthur Smith level, but I do think that there is a viable path for Goddard to still be successful with Ertz on the field and with them developing the wide receivers. But let's face it, I mean, Devonta Smith hasn't been practicing. Jalen Reagor had some separation issues. So is there a scenario where both these tight ends are just ran and they're running 12 personnel and they're, Goddard's maybe the 1B in targets compared to whoever the wide receiver 1 that steps forward, if it's Smith or if it's Reagor? I think that either way, I think that there's a direct line to success here for Goddard. But I think I am a little concerned, though, with how it's shaken up.
I've been taking Higbee over Goddard. Or, if I don't get Noah Fant's that breaking point for me, where if I don't get Fant, then I'll wait and let Tyler Higbee fall to me before I take Goddard or Thomas at this point.
Yeah, if I don't grab Fant I like Higbee as well. If not, I'll take 2 or 3 tight ends later. I'll grab like a Komet and Everett. I think that
I love Gerald Everett.
Yeah, and I just think that he's going to be successful in offense. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, when him and Higbee were on the field together, it was 2 talented tight ends, and now the fact that they're finally split, I think they're both going to excel in their offenses.
I mean, Shane Waldron is now the OC over in Seattle. Everett follows him over. He's uber athletic. He's versatile. And, the last time a tight end of Everett's caliber was with Russell Wilson was Jimmy Graham. And that union worked for a couple of years.
Yeah, until Jimmy he hurt that, was it? I forget the name of that injury in his leg, but he was kind of slow after that point. But yeah, it did work. And then we saw flashes from what's the other tight end? Disley.
Yes.
We saw flashes from Disley. So I think that having someone steady there in that position, I think Russell Wilson likes to target them, especially in the end zone.
Yeah, Disley for a while, it looked like every time he was going to get going, he puts up these big games in the short amount of time and then gets hurt again. Last year was pretty healthy, but that it was a mess, that tight end room with Greg Olsen. Hollister was getting in the action too. They're both gone.
Yeah, and I think there are so many viable tight ends late in these drafts where if you don't get somebody like a Hawkinson or Mark Andrews, if you're going a different build, again, it all breaks down to the build that you're looking for. But there are so many different ways to attack an FFPC draft. That's why I love this format. Right, the tight end premium adds an element. The extra points for quarterbacks adds an extra element. 20 yards instead of 25 yards. I mean, there's a lot of different factors that create a lot of different unique and creative builds.
Now, what are we going to be targeting next?
I think we take wide receiver. It's going to dry up. You'll see. We're going to come back around, and we're going to see players like. I mean, running back may fall, but we're going to have to probably pick a player like Odell Beckham. We're going to have Juju Smith-Schuster's, Laviska's, that 5-6 turn if you want to reach a little bit on a couple players and get your guy. But if a running back falls, like if a Travis Etienne falls our way, or just, I think there's different directions that we can go, but I prefer to take a wide receiver.
It would be nice if some of these top receivers were still there, but that's not going to happen. Like if a Jamar Chase fell, but that's not happening.
Yeah, he was going in the kind of the middle of the fourth for a long time, and then with the separation news out of camp, he started falling into the 5 again. But we've seen some guys kind of go out of ADP here, so I would not be surprised if, Trey Lance, he fired him up at round 5.
Wow.
I just say we saw people go a little early. On cue. Okay, now you may get some guy that you really like.
Like that's a little. I don't think we missed any news out of 49ers camp. In fact, I saw a video today of they're saying Jimmy Garoppolo looks really good, hitting deep bombs to Deebo Samuel.
I'm Googling right now to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, it's a hell of an idea.
Nope, both competing their asses off. Wow, Trey Lance in the 5th. Holy crap.
That's obviously probably the highest, right?
That's the highest I've ever seen him. I mean, and it's obvious that guy's high too. So what the hell? He went ahead of Kyler Murray. Oh wow. My God. That is hilarious.
He might, not for nothing, but there's no guarantees he sees the field if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy and winning. People forget Jimmy Garoppolo led this damn team to a Super Bowl.
He did.
It wasn't long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago at all. I mean, he played like shit, but but he did lead him there. And I think that's just been his MO though. He's just been, hurt. So I think that's the reason why we have Lance here. It's when they come out and said that Jimmy G's major issue is availability, right? And I think that's exactly why we have Trey Lance here. They wanted the upside as well. I do think they're a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl again. And I think that Trey Lance has that upside, but I'm never, ever firing him up over, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, any of those players.
Here we go.
We're up next. Look at that. Thielen or Jamar Chase.
I would love Chase here.
I would too. That's super late.
We need the Jeopardy sound drop here. and running backs available. Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams. There's a couple of decent backs left coming back. Edmonds goes. So, yeah, let's go Chase.
Let's go Chase. Fire him up.
Antonio Brown, I see him starting to shoot up a little bit. Then we have the news out of camp today. Antonio Brown loses a little bit. I guess he ripped somebody's helmet off.
You know what that told me? He's going for 1,200 yards and 6 touchdowns this year. That's
yeah. I mean, I love
Fire
Antonio
in the belly.
Brown. I love Antonio Brown this year. Why would you pay up for Godwin or Mike Evans when Antonio Brown in the second half, he had very similar production in games he played versus games that Godwin played? I think Josh Larkey was the one who put that tweet out a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it was as well.
And that stuck. And I liked Antonio Brown before that, but that just cemented it even more. And I'm a Chris Godwin guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a. It's interesting to say. I had a buddy messaging me who just said he's in this draft as well, and sorry, I was distracted. He says impressive right when Trey Lance just went. Oh man.
You're a 49ers fan. How worried are you about the defense and losing Robert Saleh and losing a few pieces on the defensive side of the ball? My co-host, Mike Hoff at the FF Realist on the Face-Off, he's a huge 49ers fan. He doesn't seem to be worried. I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. He had the energy too, right? It's just his presence, like him on the field. Like he had all the energy, players coming off. He rallied the troops per se. I do think some of that can be kind of counteracted with the presence of Bosa, because we didn't even have Bosa last year. So the improved front, I think, is going to really carry this defense. I am slightly concerned losing the defensive coordinator, but I think there's enough pieces there for this defense to really succeed. Plus, the strength of schedule isn't that difficult.
Yeah, you got a nice one in week 1 against the Detroit Lions.
Oh, it's going to be great to start with the W.
The DFS, I'm building a lineup that consists of Jimmy Garoppolo in a super flex.
Flex, Jimmy G?
In week 1.
Oh, yeah.
He's
easily
a dirt cheap option.
I mean, I have him when I was doing like the 28 best balls. It was 28 rounds instead of the 18s. I think he was my second most owned quarterback. Damn, I was really hoping Thielen would fall to us. Real quick, we're on the clock. Do we want to fire up Odell here? Do you want a Kareem Hunt?
What about you? Are you in on Javonte at all or no?
I'm pretty out on Javonte.
Okay.
I in season long, yes, but in best ball, not as much. I just think that I think he's more of a second half player, and they have a good second half matchup. But if I was going Javonte, I probably would have gone another earlier running back just to help
for
offset.
More stability. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, no, I get that. All right. So I'm down for Odell, Kareem Hunt, or Trey Sermon.
Okay. Let's see here. We have one. Let's go ahead and take let's take Odell.
Okay.
What wide receiver gets pretty thin here? I'm gonna lock it in.
How do you feel about Trey?
Oh man, the 49er running back core in general, I kind of staying away from it. I know I have some shares just so I'm not completely out on it. I need to have some shares available in this tournament. I just have concerns with the usage that we're going to see from these running backs. I mean, Shanahan likes to deploy multiple running backs. Kind of has a hot hand approach. I mean, Mostert has flashed in this offense. Trey is learning the offense. I mean, we have they went out and signed Wayne Gallman, and I know that people aren't high on him, and it's just Wayne Gallman. But at the end of the day, they brought him in, and they drafted running back. So I do think that there is some shape or form to where he's going to be on the field, and you start adding in, the rest of Mitchell and whatever it may be. I think that some of these players are going to play more than most fantasy managers are expecting or want. And I think that that's going to limit the upside of Trey Sermon. Add in the element of Wilson coming back later in the year. and it just muddies these waters even more. So I do have concerns. It is the Niners offense though, and running backs are very successful in this offense. So I think having 0 shares is wrong, but I think having limited shares is the way to go to give some exposure. I know some people who are all in though. I can't do it.
I'm more in on Sermon and this backfield in best ball and season and regular redraft. I'm staying away just because of that volatility. But in best ball, I have it spread between a lot of Sermon and Gallman.
Yeah, I think that's wise. I mean, Gallman's free in drafts, especially. I mean, 18s, it's hard to select him, but 20s, 28s, that's, you can start throwing them in there. But I think he's talented. I think he has, a chance to really exceed in this offense. I just am weary of the involvement of all the other backs collectively. All right, let's see if anybody's done anything else crazy. So round 5, complete order was Josh Allen, Trey Lance, T. Higgins, Kyler Murray, Mike Davis, Josh Jacobs, Julio to the 7 hole, Travis Etienne to that's my main draft partner right there. That's David Hubbard. And the 8 hole, it's a unique build for him. I've never seen him do that. Then he's going to just pan it yellow late is what he's going to do. He's probably going to go all wide receivers from pretty much here on out. We have Chase Edmonds went to round 5, which is a little earlier than where he's been going as well. Jamar Chase slipped to us. And then on the end, we have Chris Elliott from FTN, as well as Todd from Run a Daylight podcast. They take Lamar Jackson and Chase Claypool.
Oh, Todd's in here, huh?
Yeah. He's on the 12 hole with Elliott. And then Adam Thielen lands all the way to 6-2. That's late for Thielen. I would have taken him over Odell. Would you have if he was there?
Thielen over Odell, yeah.
Yeah. And then we have another 3 straight running backs: Kareem Hunt, Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert. Then Dak Prescott, Myles Gaskin, Tyler Boyd. AB gets fired up at the end of round 6. Tom Brady, this guy. Oh, man, this guy. Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, David Montgomery, Brandon Ayuk, Trey Lance, Tom Brady. 0 fucks. He just takes whoever he wants. Noah Fant at that 6-7 turn, like we talked about earlier, and then Trace Semerin falls to 7-1.
I mean, if he doesn't get another running back, I don't hate it.
Are you talking about that from the 2 hole?
I mean, he could do. I mean, it's not like he's just relying on Lance and then go gets a bum later. I think he recognizes there's a chance that Trey Lance doesn't play. I'm trying to justify it to myself.
there's no justifying.
I'm trying.
You can build this. You could have grabbed 2 other players there and taken Tom Brady in the 7th, 8th if you wanted to, and then taken Trey Lance in the 11th, 12th. There were so many different options to take players.
I don't know. I guess there is no justifying it. I try.
That's hilarious. Michael Carter. Okay. I like Michael Carter. Do you like Michael Carter?
I like Michael Carter a lot. I mean, I live on the East Coast, so I hear a lot of Jets chatter. I'm in on Joe Douglas. He's been building this offensive line for each of the past 2 years. And then you have LaFleur in his system, which is a variation of what Shanahan does. I could see a similar type of running game out of Michael Carter and the Jets this year as we see out of San Francisco.
Yeah, and I think that's why they brought Coleman over. I'm not high on Coleman. I think he's washed, but
done.
I think that Carter has one of the best. I mean, outside of Najee Harris, right? Carter has, and maybe Travis Etienne. Carter has one of the best landing spots in the NFL. They have an improved O-line. He's going to be used from day one. So I think he has a really good chance to succeed from day one.
They don't really have much else either. I mean, they just have guys. I mean, Michael P. Ryan, I don't think he's ever going to be a thing.
No, I don't think so either. He's had his chances. I mean, he flashed, but I don't see it happening. Darn, I was hoping Juju or Debo would make it back. Robbie Anderson is still there. Laviska Shenault. Anybody else you like?
At wide receiver?
Yeah, or running back?
What about you? Do you like Damien Harris at all?
I do like Damien Harris. I think we can get him next pick, possibly. Todd might take him.
What about James Conner as for a next pick if we go receiver here and then coming back? If Harris is gone, do you like James Conner there?
I do. Yeah, I would take Conner there, I think.
So of these wide receivers,
might be a little early, but you're not going to get him on the way back. Well, I mean, let's see here. I like LaVisca. I like Robbie Anderson. I like Sutton. We could take Damien Harris and then just take one of the receivers that falls back to us.
Let's do that. Let's get Damien Harris and then grab a receiver coming back, because I like more receivers coming back than running backs if we don't get if Harris is taken.
Okay, I like that pick. Let's go ahead and lock it in. Damien Harris.
You know, Damien Harris is really one of the more efficient backs. I don't think people are paying enough attention to that. And he was also
good down the stretch.
The number one back against stacked boxes. So he would still be able to be an efficient back, even though he saw the most stacked back boxes of any running back last year.
Yeah. And he looked good during those stacked boxes too. And I think as we see a more balanced offense this year, they're not going to be able to load that box up anymore.
You like Mac Jones?
I do like Mac Jones. I would actually rather my Niners sat back and not gave up the world for Trey Lance. I mean, they could have sat back and moved up 2 spots or 1 spot or whatever it was and grabbed Fields in the middle of the draft. And if not, just taken Mac Jones. But I understand the appeal. I just, as a fan, I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, I had Mac Jones pegged to the 49ers or the Patriots, and he's the type of player I think he needs to, where landing spot means everything. And, you know, he would have had both teams really good coaching like Alabama, really good defense like Alabama, good running game, good supporting cast. Those 2 teams were the perfect fit. So I'm happy Mac Jones at least got to New England, if not the 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, coming from his college offense, he thrives in systems, and I think that both those systems that you mentioned, the Niners and New England, were perfect for his skill set. And if you start comparing it to like people's draft analysts for like Aaron Rodgers, it looks identical. It's like system-based quarterback will never succeed in the NFL. And it's just funny to go back and look at some of those and then compare them to, each class.
Not all of these, there's 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. They're all not going to work. They usually don't all work. Who is the likeliest to bust? I think I asked this question on Twitter on a poll.
I'm going to say the likeliest to bust is either Zach Wilson. So are you talking like just out of Trevor Lawrence? Hold on, we're on the clock. I'm going to say Robbie Anderson or LaVisca Chenault here for me.
Let's go. This is tough. Let's go Robbie.
Okay. And just making sure Odell's week 13 bye as well. I don't really care. Jonathan Taylor. So both our running backs are week 14 buys. Just something to be mindful of.
Okay.
Robbie Anderson. Okay, week 13. I'm gonna lock it. So we're probably gonna need to grab a 5th running back with this build, with playoffs being our first 2, our top 2 running backs as a buy. So back to the quarterback question. You asked who I think is gonna be, who could be the biggest bust. Are we talking everyone from Mac Jones and up, or is Mac Jones excluded?
No, the top 5, including Mac Jones.
Okay. I'm going to say Mac Jones probably is number 1, Zach Wilson 2, Trey Lance 3, Fields 4, and then Trevor Lawrence 5 I don't know if I ranked that backwards of what you're asking or not, but I think that 5 would be the least likely to bust.
So you think the likeliest is Mac Jones?
Yeah. Or Zach Wilson.
I would put Wilson 1. And maybe, I think Mac Jones is going to work. So I would go Wilson actually Fields, then Mac Jones, then Lance and Lawrence. There's a reason why Justin Fields slipped. I can't keep glossing over that. And he looks really good, but that still is bothersome that he fell where he did.
It is. But I mean, we look at, look at players like Deshaun Watson, right? And I mean, there's always that value of the draft.
Yeah.
And I think that, it happens. And whether it be because of off the field issues or whatever it may be, the NFL, let's face it, they're not the best at identifying talent, and they make mistakes just like anybody else does. Yep. And I think that from just a raw talent standpoint, I just think Justin Fields just has so much talent, not only through the air but on the ground. I just think that that Konami code kind of style quarterback and the weapons that he has around him, I just think he has a better chance to succeed. Plus, he's just accurate as hell. Like, it's like having like a Tom Brady accuracy, or with a Cam Newton running game.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting. Definitely, probably be unprecedented if they all end up working out. Not all being Super Bowl champions, obviously, but having a long NFL career. To me, for a quarterback, if you're, like Matthew Stafford, whether he ever gets over the hump or not, he was a good NFL quarterback. He'll go down as a good NFL quarterback.
He will. I like Stafford. I think he's a gunslinger.
We'll see this year. We'll see a lot this year.
All right, let's see. Okay, well, the guy in the 2-hole was fairly normal this pick. Nothing crazy. I was expecting somebody like Jared Cook or something crazy. I could see this guy taking Michael Thomas. I think he's a Michael Thomas guy.
Yeah, trying to get that late value.
Yeah,
if there's value there.
The guy in the 2-hole.
Where have you seen Michael Thomas go?
I've gotten him as late as 13 in a best ball draft. In this tournament.
How high are you willing to take him? I wouldn't take him here.
No, I wouldn't take him until like middle round 10, probably.
I think that's where I got him in our video draft.
Yeah, I don't remember where you got him. I want to say you got him a little earlier. I think you got him in the 9th.
9th?
Yeah. I have that board pulled up, actually. I can pull it up. I was editing that today. Yep, you got him at 9-3.
That was a nice project. That was fun.
It is. I've been throwing that together. I was hoping to be done last Friday. It's realistic now that I'm going to be done by this coming Monday. Yeah. So a week and a half late, but hey, here I am. It's gonna be finished.
And at least you'll know for next year if you do it again, or.
Oh yeah, then I just give myself an extra couple weeks. We do it a little earlier, but it's we've been fortunate, knock on wood, where no major injuries have really affected that draft yet in ADP.
No, not at all.
It was after the Michael Thomas news. It was after the Cam Akers news. I mean, there really hasn't been anything on the offense side of the ball that's been really too significant.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look here at the board. We are up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks. And I think James Conner's in question.
I like James Conner a lot in best ball, even in your normal formats. He's one of my highest rostered players. I think there's untapped upside, and any risk is built into this ridiculous ADP.
I think so too. I know everyone's really high in Edmonds, and I like Edmonds, but I just think that Edmonds is going to keep with the Edmonds role, maybe take over a couple more 1-2 reps. But I think that Conner just slides into that Drake role and is also the goal line back.
Well, yeah, and I like that you brought that up, because that was a narrative that I've sold myself on immediately when Conner signed, is what Drake, everybody talks about leftover or vacated targets. Kenyon Drake, these are vacated running back touches, vacated goal line carries. Drake had 57 red zone touches, 4th amongst running backs last year, and 2nd in goal line carries with 19. And James Conner and Drake, both the same height. Conner has a little bit more size. I think he's going to be extremely effective if he's healthy.
I do too. And this offense is powerful. I mean, it's a powerhouse. I mean, they're going to be pushing the ball downfield. They're going to have plenty of red zone opportunities again here in 2021. So I think Conner is a sneaky pick late in drafts, especially in best ball. I just think that it really opens up.
Conner, we got him. Okay.
Yeah, I locked it. I figured we were talking so much about him. I just think that, at that ADP, whenever I'm looking in drafts, I look at whenever I'm making picks, I say, which player am I selecting in this pick that could severely outplay their average draft position? And James Conner is definitely one that I see in round 9.
Coming back, do you have that same, maybe it is too early. Marvin Jones, if we're going to go receiver, Marvin Jones or Will Fuller?
I like Marvin Jones. I like Will Fuller. I think that we'll get one of them in the 10th, I think.
If that's the direction you want to go.
Yeah, I think that we might need – I think there's a teardrop in running back. We might be able to get another one here. So the problem is, if we wait for somebody, like a Naheem – like Lat Murray, I think, is a cut candidate. David Johnson now is – who knows what's happening with that backfield. So that really leaves us with A.J. Dillon, Leonard Fournette, Jamal Williams, because we have 2 week 14 by running backs, which is week 1 in playoffs. So realistically, right now, we only have James Conner for the first week of playoffs.
What direction are you a Fournette guy?
I'm not, but I own a little bit. I like Fournette. I like Jamal Williams. I mean, round 10, Fournette's kind of late right now, so I'm fine taking him.
I'm in on Fournette.
All right, let's take Fournette then.
I'm big. I've always been a Leonard Fournette guy, and I know they brought in Gio Bernard, and today the news is saying Gio Bernard's going to have a large role. I don't know, Leonard Fournette, the way he ran the ball last year, he took over that backfield after that late Ronald Jones injury and never gave it back.
That's true. They were talking about cutting him that week, and then when Ronald Jones got hurt, then he just blew up.
Leonard Fournette played a big role in that Super Bowl run. I think bigger than what people are trying to, allude to.
Yeah, my only concern is they brought Gio, so some of his pass catching work is gone. They still have Rojo, but in best ball, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, because he's going to have his weeks.
And he's been going at the end of round 8, so we just got an entire round and a quarter of value. So let's just lock it in. Leonard Fournette, good?
Yes. And where would you target quarterback?
Next pick, we're probably going to need to take 1 or 2. And then from there, that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 solid running backs. We can take a quarterback or 2 in the next pick, and then paint it from there. Just paint it yellow.
It'd be nice if Joe Burrow fell. And we get that Jamar Chase stack.
It would be. So we have the guy in the 2 hole who knows what he's going to do, but he has 2 quarterbacks. The guy in the 6 hole has 2 quarterbacks. I guarantee you 8 hole is only going to take 1 quarterback the entire draft. Team 7 has 1, so we could see 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks, maybe 4 go off the board here, but I doubt that all 4 will.
8 hole is your normal partner?
Yeah, I draft the primary, probably 70% of my drafts are with him.
Now, so going 1 quarterback, is that almost like punting the week or hoping that the rest of your team pulls it out? What is the...
It's punting the week, and he'll do it. He'll grab a top tier quarterback and just say the rest. I'm just punting that week, and I'm looking at a positional advantage over everybody else in every other position.
And then if they get hurt, you're just burning an entry, basically.
Exactly. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the concept behind it, I understand it. I haven't done the math on it, but if you're taking that early to pick on Patrick Mahomes and he gets hurt anyways, your team's probably done anyhow.
Good point.
So I think that it just kind of I think it's a dangerous build, but I think it could pan out. Typically, though, he starts like 1 or 2 running backs and goes a lot of yellow. I mean, he'll build 1 quarterback builds with Darnold. He'll build 1 quarterback builds with with all sorts of quarterbacks, but I think Mahomes is the quarterback to do it with if you're going to do it.
Yeah, because he's fairly durable too.
Yep. Wow, this dude just fired up Ron Gronkowski too. This guy just doesn't care. He's taking whoever he wants whenever he wants. I mean, Rob Gronkowski goes in, 12th round.
Yeah. Oh, he got the stack. He does. He has the Ayuk Lance stack that might never be anything in year one.
Yeah, that's very true. So there goes one quarterback.
Like he's drafting like it's a Scott Fishbowl.
Yes. That's so true.
Which, Jonu's off the board now. Which New England tight end have you been targeting? Or a little bit of both?
I try to avoid them both, quite frankly, but if I'm picking one or the other, I take Hunter Henry.
Me too.
Because
me too.
Just it's later ADP, and he's shown to be a viable pass catcher, where I think Jonnu Smith has more questions.
Yeah, see, people try to sell me, because I'm a Hunter Henry guy, and for what you said, the later pick, and he also has established career. I know he's been banged up here and there, but he's had 90-plus targets in the season. Jonnu had a career high in targets last year and never saw volume before.
Exactly. And anytime, like, I have two players that could potentially, be the 1A, 1B, and one has an ADP of 4 rounds later, I've taken that later ADP 9 out of 10 times. And it just breaks down to, cost and expected value. So I think that at that cost at round 11, I'd rather take somebody else and then save the pick and take Hunter Henry in round 13 or 14. I mean, he's going at the end of 13 right now. Who knows? The 2-hole might fire him up next pick.
Is this one of the most awkward drafts that you've seen somebody do?
It's up there. I've seen some shit shows. So to label it as the most awkward, no, I can't do that. But it's up there. David Montgomery was early. It was okay through like 4. I wasn't like, it's not bad. It's like, go ahead and get your guy. But then as soon as you fired up Trey Lance, I just assumed drugs were involved. Let's see what they do here. Well, we're going to get a solid quarterback.
Wow, Matt Ryan went a little bit earlier than expected.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt Ryan, I'm going to pull it up right now. On average goes, it's about right, middle of the 11th. Over
Burrow, or is Burrow falling?
No, Burrow's falling right now. Burrow's normally goes in the beginning of the 10th.
Got it. 2 more picks, 3 more picks.
You want to guess who
Burrow's the guy,
Burrow
right?
goes after? Yeah, Burrow's the guy if he's here, especially with our chase stack. Do you want to guess who Burrow goes after in most drafts?
Brady?
Trey Lance 2 picks later. Oh. Round 10.
I knew it was going to be one of these guys, one of that guy's quarterbacks. You were going to. That was definitely the answer.
The nice thing too about taking Burrow here, if he makes it to us, is we have a little mini stack. Not within the team. So week 17, Chiefs play the Bengals. So think of these matchups down the stretch and inside these tournament plays as mini DFS games. So week 17, Tyreek Hill gets to face Jamar Chase. Gets to face Joe Burrow. So we have a game stack as well, a shootout match in a shootout. A shootout match in the NFL for like a DFS stack inside the tournament.
And then let's hope that Kansas City's still playing in week 17 and not, locked up and resting.
Yeah, that's the only concern there, right? But if that's the scenario, then I still think that Joe Burrow and that means the defense might sit. I'm gonna lock in Burrow here.
That's nice to have that both. I feel like both Chase and Burrow fell to us.
They did. Yeah. Yeah. Chase is going. I'm going to pull up the ADP for the last few days on fantasymojo.com. Chase is going middle of the 5. We got him at the end of the 5. And, last week, the week before, he was going in the middle of the 4. But us getting Burrow there at the end of the 11 is just fantastic value.
Yeah, I like the makeup of this team so far.
Yeah, it's shaping up pretty nicely. We take a look at our running back core. So we have Leonard Fournette week 9 bye, and we have James Conner week 12 bye. Harris and Jonathan Taylor are week 14. So we'll probably, like I said, we'll probably need a 5th running back for this build simply because our top 2 running backs are on bye for the first week of playoffs. But I don't think we need it here on this next pick.
But we can't. I would like Hines, but he also has that week 14 bye.
Yeah, we can't take him as much as I like him to. I think we can push our 5th running back, though. Grab somebody a little later.
You know, where would you go here?
The question to me is, do we want to take a Will Fuller if he makes it back to us?
Ooh, yes. I think
so. It is week 14, but it's receiver, and I don't really care at that point. That's our first receiver on week 14 bye. Or do we take our 2nd quarterback? But I think that we'd be able to push it and grab. I don't care if at this point if we get somebody, I don't even care if we have Goff as our 2nd quarterback. If we can get another positional difference here,
I think Fuller's a little bit of a value here. I mean, you talk about a team paying a player, they paid him, and Fuller just went off. So never mind.
Yeah, Todd and Elliott just grabbed him. So I like Terrence Marshall here still too. I think Terrence Marshall's been
doubling up on those Carolina receivers.
Yep.
Because I like Marshall a ton.
Okay.
And he's getting a ton of hype right now.
Yes, he is. And did he just go or did I?
No, he's still there. Terrace Marshall's still there.
I haven't selected. Okay. Okay. You want to grab Terrace Marshall?
Yeah, let's go Marshall.
Which opens up Darnold for us as another quarterback.
That's nice. Yeah, let's try to target Darnold too. And hopefully he's there. He'll be there. I like MVS a lot. I feel like MVS for where you can get him.
Yes,
he's getting a lot of positive traction out of camp, saying his hands are the best that they've ever been, having the best camp of his career. Another big deep ball guy. I don't know him best ball. I'm really starting to grab. I'll even reach around for him sometimes on MVS.
Yeah, he is my, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12th highest owned wide receiver in FFPC. I just think he's the perfect best ball candidate. I mean, the dude just goes off. He'll have, 120 yards and a touchdown one game. Yeah, he might go, 3 for 40 the next game, but at round 17 is where he's going on average. I mean, he's starting to creep up a little bit, but to be able to get him that late with that type of upside, especially with Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, it's the perfect best ball candidate to me.
Yeah, he's one of my late round all-in guys.
Yeah, round 16 is where he's going in the last couple of days. So I just pulled it up on the Fantasy Mojo site.
And he's fairly durable. And when I think of prime best ball receivers like Deshaun Jackson, but you'll get 6 games and 4 of them will be big. Like you'll get more opportunity. You'll get at least 14 out of MBS, we hope.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that, they like to throw the ball. And they're going to continue to throw the ball. And I don't care about Randall Cobb. It doesn't matter to me.
No.
Right. And I think that Aaron Rodgers wants to prove that he's still the best and he's going to huck the ball. And it's going to benefit MVS, especially when they're double teaming Devontae Adams. Is going to open up the field here for MVS on those long throws.
Like, if we get MVS in, like, let's say round 16, he had 5 wide receiver 2 weeks last year. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all, especially for a round 16, 17 pick.
And I think 3 of those weeks were wide receiver 1s. Yeah, week 14, week 10, he was the overall wide receiver 4, and then week 1, all wide receiver 1 weeks.
I was wrong. He took Trevor Lawrence. I missed it. 2-hole took a third quarterback. Of course he did.
Unbelievable.
I am not a third quarterback build kind of guy. I mean, you're eliminating 1/6 of your roster for a single position. and a single start position at that.
I think it's just a traditional build and trying to protect yourself. Usually I try for 2. Once in a while, if I need a third, like I have some exposure to Deshaun Watson this year. Just in case.
This year. Yeah,
No?
just in case. I don't think he plays, though. I mean, what was the most recent one? The sex trafficking charge? Like, that's a biggie. Like, he's going to jail.
He's talking. I know the FBI was recently talking to him.
Yeah, I don't understand how you're that big of a moron. Like, you have that big of a career. You've made that much money, and you want to do stupid shit.
You
I don't get it.
remember Sam Hurd with all the coke?
Yeah, I forgot. It's a name
He
you ever heard in a
signed
while.
with. He went from Dallas to Chicago with the Bears, and all of a sudden there was a report that came out that he's trafficking cocaine.
Yeah.
Like you can't wait until after your football career, or why?
Or hire somebody to do it for you.
Like at least like Nate Newton. I remember when he got popped with like 300 pounds of weed, he was at least retired.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're making all this money, you're doing all this stuff. Like, if you're really about that thug life and you can't give it up, hire someone. Right? Go out and catch footballs. Go out and do your football thing and have people do your dirty work for you. Like, I'm not advocating it, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, there's smarter ways.
Yeah, exactly. Than being the mule yourself. This is an interesting draft for him, man.
It's nice to be drafting with Todd. I've talked to Todd through the years.
Yeah, Todd's a good guy. I did 30 best balls with him. We were trying to hit 50. It just didn't happen. Look at these 3 quarterback builds go already. So Team 5 just went 3 quarterbacks in a row. Team 2 has his 3rd quarterback. So we have a couple quarterback choices here. Let's see the bye weeks. Okay, good. Both quarterbacks I like are week 13. So right side of the board, probably they each take a quarterback. So I think we should probably take the one that we like the most first. And then grab a running back on the way back. And then from there, we're able to just paint it yellow.
And we already, so whatever quarterback we go with, whether it's Darnold or Mayfield, we can pick up those stacks.
Correct. Yeah, so I think it's pretty safe.
I think
I'm good either way. I personally have Baker pegged as a breakout. I mean, you saw what I had yesterday.
Yeah.
I think it's aggressive, but I love Baker Mayfield, but I also own a shit ton of them, so I'm also okay going each way.
I'd rather go Baker.
Okay, let's fucking do it.
I have more faith in Baker than I do Sam Darnold.
So my quarterback ownership, Baker is first at 16.85%. Russell Wilson is 2 at 12.36, and then Sam Darnold's 3 at 11.24.
Wow.
So then Justin Herbert 4.
I mean, Darnold for the first time has the weapons to succeed.
He does, and he's away from Adam Gase.
My counterpoint to the Gase thing, like I know, Tannehill sheds Gase and then all of a sudden he pops off, but Tannehill also had a positive track record before Gase of being a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was like
he was
Joe
supposed to
Philbin.
He was supposed to be that breakout year, and then he got Adam Gase.
Yeah. So that's my only thing. I Tannehill did it before. Like, we don't know Tannehill before Gase.
Yeah,
there is no Tannehill before. I mean, we don't know Darnold before Gase.
Yeah, I understand what you meant. Okay, Baker here.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's do it. Year 2 is Stefanski.
The Browns are a dangerous team.
They are. They have an
Really
improved
dangerous
defense.
team.
They have Odell Beckham back. I mean, now you have Myles Garrett on one side, you have Clowney on the next. Like, this defense is going to be legit. And then add in the fact that this is the first year in Baker Mayfield's career that he has been in the same system within back-to-back years.
Yes.
Like, that's a big deal. And we saw how Baker started off slow last year. He was learning that new system. He was getting acquainted with the coaching system. He was getting essentially like his sea legs. And then come second half of the season. Yeah, a couple bad weather games.
Baker.
Throw in the second half, and we see we had a 5-touchdown game. That's the ceiling, but I think that we're going to see a lot more consistency from Baker and the Browns here in 2021.
Yeah, my biggest question is if the secondary can stay healthy, because they brought in those the two former Rams defensive backs. Troy Hill himself had 3. He scored 3 touchdowns in the second half, and John Johnson was a staple safety in that secondary for a long time. Get those guys on the field and healthy. And, they drafted, I always butcher his name, JOK Koromoro.
Oh. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's a hybrid player. I don't know. I'm in on the Browns. I like the Ravens more, but my co-host loves the Browns. I'm more on the Ravens, so that's always a good argument.
And they're both, in terms of Vegas odds, 1 and 2 in the division to win. I have the Browns pegged to win, especially now we're seeing that wide receiver core inside the Ravens just decimated with injuries. So I think that I think Baker and the Browns have a good shot at upsetting a lot of people this year, and honestly, quite frankly, being dark horses at MVP.
How are you low on the Steelers?
I am. Yeah, I like the passing volume they're going to have, but I mean, let's be real here. Big Ben is a hit away from retiring or from not being able to finish the season. And if that happens, I mean, this offense is completely changed. I mean, that's why I like Najee so much, though. They're gonna hammer the ground with him. They're gonna just give him every opportunity to succeed. I just don't think there's a chance that he doesn't succeed in this offense.
We had I had Jim Coventry on the FFFaceoff. He's on all the time. But I remember
we're on the clock. Running backs I like here are Xavier Jones. Behind Darrell Henderson there, I think he's going to see a lot of snaps. Darrington Evans.
If we're gonna go running back here, I would go.
Or we could wait and take a Jerick McKinnon.
Anything? What about Boston Scott? Are you in at all on Boston Scott?
I am not.
Okay. That's like a love-hate thing with people. Let's go with Xavier Jones. Let's get a piece of that Rams backfield.
Yep. Boom. And that gives us our fifth running back now with and the only reason we took 5 was because the 2 week 14 buys. Otherwise, we could have just played with 4. But now that it gives us our 2 solid tight ends, our 2 solid quarterbacks, we have our 5 running backs. We can literally just take wide receiver from here on out.
What I was saying about Jim Coventry on the show, he actually said it wouldn't surprise him if we saw Dwayne Haskins at some point this year.
I mean, they got to see what they have, right? I mean, whether he's injured or whether he is comes in relief. Maybe Ben has a really bad game. They're getting blown out and they just pull him off the field. They throw in Haskins to see what they have. I mean, what was he, the number 2 overall pick?
I think it was like, what, was he 2?
Was he?
No, he was like top 10. I don't think he was that high.
I'm going to Google it right now.
Me too.
15th overall. Yeah, I was way off.
Yeah.
I joined team 2 here and started doing drugs. So we had, but still, like, you have to see what you have. He's still, nonetheless, he's a first-round draft pick in the NFL. And whether he's a bust or he's not a bust, I think they had to figure that out this year.
Absolutely.
Before Big Ben retires, to know, hey, do we need to go out and acquire somebody, or can we, get by with Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph? But I think, isn't Mason Rudolph's contract up this year as well?
It is. So they definitely need to see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I'm pulling up his contract right now. So he's a unrestricted free agent in 2023. So they got one more year with him. So either way, though, they still.
He's not the guy, though. It's not Mason. I think if they really thought Mason Rudolph was the heir apparent, Big Ben would not be there this year.
I think that's correct. So, I mean, we're both relatively down on the Steelers, but how do you feel about the pass catching options there?
In Pittsburgh?
Yep.
I think they have all the ceiling in the world. I think they have one of the best wide receiver trios in the league. I just don't trust Big Ben. If I'm going to go with anybody, I want the shallow receiver, which is probably Juju.
Yes, it is. I'm so happy to hear you say that. Juju Smith-Schuster. I'll pull up my ownership. Number 3, 20. Oh, sorry, tied at number 2. 1 is Debo, 2 is Odell Beckham, tied with Juju Smith-Schuster. He's operating on the slot. It's where he excels. We saw him out-snap Claypool 3-1 on 2 wide receiver sets in the first preseason game. I get it. It's preseason. But at the end of the day, that still signifies that he's the number 2 wide receiver 2 in this offense, not the 3 as most people had him pegged. And then we saw Claypool avoid major injury. He's probably going to miss a little bit of time here in camp. I think that just separates Juju even more as this wide receiver 2 on this offense.
Got to give my dog some water. Coughing.
No problem. I was wondering what that noise was.
He's old. He's 13, little Pomeranian. I have a dog and two cats, and they weigh a combined 35 pounds.
It's about the size of a burrito I ate today. I'm so full. I normally get tacos from this taco truck. This is fantastic, by the way. And I was like, you know what? That wet burrito looks pretty amazing today. And whiff that thing down.
I have to be in the mood for a burrito. I usually go for the tacos or the enchiladas.
I like enchiladas.
We have a place in Jersey. I don't know if they're anywhere else, but I know they're big in Jersey. Surf Taco.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, they're pretty good. It's all like fresh ingredients, and they have good individual tacos, but they have some of the best chicken enchiladas you can get.
Yeah, I like enchilada. I like all Mexican food. I don't care. You can put it. I'll eat.
Me too.
I'll eat anything. I mean, I love pozole as well. Like pozole is so good. It's the soup.
Oh,
so it's got like pig in it. So if it's really traditional, it has like snout and hoof in it. But if most people make it in the States with just, the carnitas in there, and then it has like the hominy and it's red sauce, and you throw in cabbage, and it's tasty.
That sounds really good. I'm a food guy. I love food.
Me too. Can't you tell?
Know what I've been dying for? And I don't know if they're probably reopened. And I'd be crushed if they never open again, but a Chinese buffet.
Oh, I know. Like, come on. Like, they're over here closing all these things. And how are they going to take away our buffets? Like, that's bullshit.
Like, you could take away any buffet, not the Chinese buffet. Do not take that away from me.
So I was just talking about this with somebody. Like, not all restaurants are. I identify as a restaurant, but I'm a buffet. Or like, just get it back. Get it back on the field. We want our buffets back. We will not comply until we have buffets.
Oh, we're up.
Yeah, we're up next. Wow, I wanted MVS, but he just went. That's a bummer. Let's see here. Sterling Shepard, Nelson Aguilar, Gabe Davis, Tyrell Williams.
Nothing. No, you're not in on Rashad Bateman, the injury.
No, he just had surgery 5 days ago.
No, but he's expected back. I have some exposure to Bateman. Out of this group, I would go with Davis. I love his ceiling. And, if he gets, let's say if Emmanuel Sanders went down and Gabriel Davis steps into the spot.
This kid into Gabe Davis.
I'm in.
Okay. Yeah. No need to talk me into Gabe Davis. What is he? My 4th most owned wide receiver. That's amazing. You like so many of the same players I like.
Hopefully that's a good thing.
Doesn't help my ownership, but definitely it's easy to draft. So a couple players
also like Aguilar.
I like Aguilar too. I mean,
I
wasn't at the beginning of the season, but I've come around on him primarily because of Todd.
I like Bateman over Shepard. Like I will start, especially at the injury discount. I'll take Rashad Bateman. I like, I like what we saw. I know it was camp and it doesn't matter, but like he smoked Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, he did.
And Marlon Humphrey's a hell of a cornerback.
And he'd stack with Mark Andrews, so we could just bite the bullet and take him. It would be what, our wide receiver 7? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, wide receiver 7. I'm okay with it if you want to do it.
We have Chase already, right?
Yeah, Jamar Chase,
I like playing the numbers game with the rookie receivers. One of them
I did too.
So I'm in. If you want to go Bateman, let's go Bateman.
Yeah, he's a high upside pick, and we see that Sammy's hurt, and Sammy's kind of irrelevant anyways. Marquise Brown's banged up, so it's anyone's game right now for this wide receiver core, but it also gives us a stack with Mark Andrews. Todd took his second quarterback. Is he going to do the Todd 3 QB build that I always give him shit for? I don't think he does. Did he do it? AJ Green.
I love AJ Green. He's like that player I will never quit. If there's any juice left in AJ Green, if it doesn't happen this year, he's done.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that this is the best opportunity he's going to have at any point in the next year or two if he decides to keep playing.
Be the only time in his career he's not going to see top end coverage.
Yep.
So if he can't beat B corner and C cornerback, then he might as well hang it up.
Yeah, I agree.
And I guess Fitz is done. He should be.
He hasn't retired yet.
I would love to see Fitzgerald retire in Minnesota. Just
why Minnesota?
Because that's where he grew up on the sideline. His dad was like did something with the organization.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a connection with the Vikings and Larry Fitzgerald.
Okay, Bateman made it to us. Lock it in.
Yep.
Okay. I did not know that. I mean, he's had one hell of a career. Like, that dude is just he's just amazing. Like, going back to that, like the game of the year last year, what was it? Arizona versus Seattle. And he was grabbing the ball. Like, just, they talk about veteran presence. And that's what he was bringing to that game. Like, they threw a little out pass to the left, and he sprinted across the field, grabbed the ball and sprinted it to the ref. They were able to, spike the ball with like 2 seconds left and then kick that game tying field goal. I mean, he doesn't do that. That's end of game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of shit that people like Fitz and those veterans that bring to the table.
Absolutely. Yeah. Fitzgerald in 1998 was the ball boy. I had to look it up to verify my year, but he was a ball boy for the Vikings.
That would be kind of cool to come back and play. I don't think he would retire
a Viking. Yeah.
He spent his entire career in Arizona. Like, I could see him maybe going and coaching there or doing something in that capacity. But I just don't see him like playing that long and that great of a career all in Arizona and then just saying, hey, I want to go be a Viking in my last year.
I mean, Emmitt Smith did it, shoved it right up my ass. He actually played with the Cardinals, Emmitt.
I forgot about that.
And he played with Larry Fitzgerald. That's how old Larry is.
Emmitt Smith used to piss me off, man. Like, he just always just run out of bounds. Run out of bounds. It was just so frustrating as a Niner fan. He was so good.
He'll always be
so good.
He gets so under. Yeah, I know he's a rushing leader, but I don't feel like he gets the respect that he deserves because he wasn't flashy. He just picked up the yards and kept picking up yards at chunks.
Yep. Chunks is definitely right. And then he would protect himself and just run out of bounds. He wouldn't try to take on defenders.
Yeah, he was durable. He played hurt too, though. He had that one game going into the playoffs where he had the dislocated shoulder against the Giants.
I love talking old football.
Me too.
Who was the other guy? Marion the Barbarian. That dude.
Apparently he's in a bad way right now.
Is he?
Yeah, life after football wasn't good for him, but I loved Marion Barber. I have his jersey, his throwback.
That run is, I think, still one of the best runs of all time. It was like a 2-yard run, if you know what I'm talking about, where he like runs backwards in the end zone and sheds like 8 tackles and then gets 2 yards. It's like a 30-second play.
But that's what you want out of a running back. I don't know. I like the in between the tackle runners.
Yep, I do too. Well, let's take a look at our board here. See if our buddy here in the 2 holes done anything else crazy. No, the rest of it's pretty standard. Okay, he wants to go up. There we go. As afraid as I say it, he does it again. 4 quarterbacks.
So I just burning this lineup.
He just threw $125 out the window. He might as well just handed it out to charity. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 5 wide receivers. That's it. He's gonna have a 6 wide receiver build.
If that's an if. Is this a normal guy in here? No, right? I'm assuming.
Wait, I think he's anything but normal. There's a lot of 3 quarterback builds in this one. 4 in the 2 hole. We have 3 in the 3 hole, 3 in the 4 hole, 3 in the 5 hole. Wow, it's a quarterback day. Which is good for us. We're going to get another receiver that's going to fall to us.
What do you think about Kirk, Collins, or Josh Palmer?
I love Palmer, but I think that David in the 8 hole will swoop Palmer up. You might as well take him off your board. I can all but guarantee it. I think Kirk's a decent dart throw. Collins, I think we're getting too risky with 3 rookie wide receivers.
Okay. Yeah.
We could throw, there goes Kirk anyways. We could throw DPJ out there and get a stack. I also like Slayton as a best ball pick.
Donovan Peoples-Jones, I've heard some positive chatter out of training camp, so I wouldn't mind throwing him up there for a stack. If you want to go Slayton, depending on how much you trust Daniel Jones.
I don't trust him, but I think he's going to have boom bust weeks. Like he had 2 weeks last year. So one is like 21.9 fantasy points. Oh, he did not take Palmer. Palmer's going to slip to us. Who did he take? Did he take McKinnon? Yep, he took McKinnon. Yep.
Which is a nice pick.
Yeah. Okay. I think Palmer then.
Okay, I'm in. I want a piece of that offense.
Yep. Oh, and there goes Tony. Okay, so Palmer it is, and on the way back, we pick either DPJ, Slayton. Is there anyone else you want to throw in here? Do we want Byron Pringle?
I do have some exposure to Pringle. I wouldn't mind.
And then it goes with our
we
week
do like a
stack.
lot of the same players.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Like you're like the only person who brought up Brian Pringle to me.
I'm not crazy about him, but I mean, as a wide receiver, what is that? 8 now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wide receiver 9, sure, why not? And it also goes with the build. We have Tyreek. We have week 17. They play the Bengals, which we have that stack too. So if they do sit people week 17,
we're good.
Pringle's in. Yep.
And not for nothing, they're going to be a wide receiver 2 by committee, which means Pringle's going to have his weeks. There's no why pay up for Hardman when he might give you 3 wide receiver 1 weeks and Pringle can give you 3.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I'm higher on Hardman than I am Pringle, but I own shares of both of them. I'm heavier on ownership with Hardman, but I mean, it's a very real chance that Pringle could be the number 2 in that offense.
I liked Hardman coming out with the understanding that he was raw. I think he was only a wide receiver since he's been in college. So he was extremely raw coming out. And I understand why Kansas City took him because that was the offseason. We didn't know if Tyreek Hill was even going to be in the league. But if he doesn't develop this year, I don't know if it ever happens for McCole Hardman.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of a make or break year for him.
Oh, this dog.
Well, all 3 of them made it back to us. So I think I lean Pringle here with our build. What do you think?
Let's go Pringle.
Okay, I'm gonna lock it in. Okay, so let's run down our final roster. We have Tyreek Hill with our first round pick, Jonathan Taylor, TJ Hawkinson, Mark Andrews, Jamar Chase, Odell Beckham Jr., Damien Harris, Robbie Anderson, James Conner, Leonard Fournette, Joe Burrow, Terrace Marshall, Baker Mayfield, Xavier Jones, Gabe Davis, Rashad Bateman, Josh Palmer, and Brian Pringle. How you feeling about it?
I like it. It's a different team that I would normally have out there, but I think this is what you need to crack these tournaments.
Yeah, high upside, late dart throws that have ceilings, I think is the way to go. I think our roster construction is solid. I'm a firm believer in roster construction. Like every draft, you have, at least one, sometimes three players, sometimes four that eliminate themselves based upon roster construction. Right. So I think our roster construction is solid. We have 2 solid tight ends. We have our 2 quarterbacks. We have our 5 running backs, and then we have 9 wide receivers. So I don't really feel like we have any weakness in our construction. But like team 2, for instance, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but this is a team that eliminates itself based upon roster construction. I mean, we have 4 quarterbacks. We have, 6 running backs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's probably going to be 6. So, and he's got 6 wide receivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. Look, there's the running back.
Unreal.
So, like those are the type of things, those type of plays, I think that people eliminate themselves based upon construction. So,
and where he's taken these players. This Lance was incredibly too high, and he just follows suit with most of his team.
Yeah, it's they say don't drink and draft, but I mean I like to drink and draft. But I think that there's a don't do drugs and draft, because here he is. It looks like team 2. Where's Waldo? Here at the 2 spot. Any other teams out here that you really like?
Just looking at the builds, if we're going to my normal roster builds, team 8.
Yeah,
with
that's
Zeke,
David.
Barkley grabs the tight end and then comes back with the quarterback 1.
Yeah,
and then obviously pounding more running back, which is my MO, and then hitting receiver late.
Yeah, and he got some, because of these builds that we saw, he got some exceptional value here. I mean, he got Harmon at the middle to late 9, where he's been kind of going early 9 or late 8. He got LaVisca, in the middle of the 8, where he's been kind of going in the 7-8 turn. So we just see when you have players like the 2-hole in these drafts, just kind of pushes value down the board. And when you have sharp drafters like Dave here, or Todd and Elliott at the 12-hole, they swoop on those values. So I mean, we saw players fall our way, they saw players fall their way. So it definitely creates some excitement on the board.
I mean, Matrix is like his second half. Marvin Jones, high exposure for me. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jerick McKinnon, Hayden Hurst has a path to targets, even with Kyle Pitts on the field. So I absolutely love his second half, especially.
Yeah, and then he took him to stack with Pitts just in case there's an issue there. So I think it's a smart pick in 18, and again another value, because Pitts in these, Hurst in these tournaments going a full round and a half earlier. Beginning of round 17, and in some scenarios 16. So he gets a value there as well. So I like Dave's team as well in the 8-hole. I like Todd's team. I'm not crazy about AJ Dillon, but I know people are. But I think his roster construction is solid, as it always is with him. And I like the rest of his picks. I mean, quarterback Taysom Hill could be concerned, but he's got Lamar Jackson as the one to shore it up. Well, Anthony, thank you for joining me on the
this
pod.
Was awesome. Absolutely. Thank you.
It was great. It was good to talk some football, good to talk some Marion Barbarian, and get a draft in with you. This best ball draft probably fills tomorrow, latest, probably early Saturday. So if you're looking to do more, anyone watching the show, make sure to get them in now, because it's going to be filled here within the next 48 hours. So thanks for coming on, Anthony. Look forward to doing more of these with you in the future. And
I think that's going to happen.
We're addicts, and see how this draft pans out. So why don't you run through, tell everybody where they can find you, give them the plugs, the 411.
Absolutely. You can follow me on Twitter at The Real NFL Guru. You can follow my show at the FFFaceoff and all the top social media and podcast platforms. A good majority of my written work, a lot of betting, some fantasy over at the Game Day NFL, and most of my audio work over at the FFFaceoff. I also do guest appearances and all that fun stuff as well.
All right, everybody, make sure to give Anthony a follow as well as his site. Again, thanks for coming on, and best of luck to us in this best ball draft. Have a good evening, and we'll be back tomorrow live with Will Raggets from the Vikings beat writer for our Vikings preview for 2021. Have a good night.